amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
It's motorsport, but not as you know it. Test yourself and your everyday road car. Safe, affordable, but most of all, fun. And all you need is your daily driver. Experience the thrill of a sprint day. Race against the clock at a hill climb. Or test your reflexes with an auto test. It takes just 3 simple steps to get started. Get on the start line. Search Motorsport Australia Daily Driver today.
Fishies in a row. They're here to make a point and to do Eddie proud. They fan out in the background as they come down to turn 1 for the first time. It all looks pretty good, 2 by 2. We'll stop the camera here. Oh, Eddie would be proud, mate. That was awesome run around turn 1. But, contact with the fishies.
He's made it through. It doesn't look like Angus has made it, but Thomas Freeman's made it through, and Angus is going to suffer the crowd coming through there to be able to turn his car around.
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride.
Whatever you ride.
Whatever you ride.
Ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
And they are off. It was a good start from Dylan de Bono. I think Phil Vella got a great start there in the background as well. You can see already cars going 5, 6 wide as they're trying to find any semblance of space. They come into T1. So far we've got 2, 3 wide as they snake down. It's Michael Conchar that's got around Dylan de Bono. A couple of cars going wide there. Was that a bit of contact in the back? Scott Pocock caught up in that, I think, there, buddy. But it's Michael Cullajar's got past, so Dylan.
Light is coming out and we're about to get going, and we have a green light and a very slow start for the 86s, but they are moving out there on the grid. It would be very interesting to see exactly which driver can capitalise on this first lap. Just go through the grid. Look like Jamie Christensen had a really awesome start to get ahead of Dylan de Bono, and Doug Gowage also jumped his teammate as well, so unfortunately Dylan stalled the car a little bit more than what he preferred. But
Weekend in, weekend out, Motorsport Australia officials are making waves. From waving flags, waving cars through pit lane, or responding to a wave for help. Wave hello to new lifelong friends. Who knows, you might just make waves around the world. Ride the first wave. Search Motorsport Australia officials today.
They're still great classes of car, and if you are able to, if you're coming up the ranks on iRacing through the licenses, it's a fantastic sort of laneway into prototype driving, going from that GT3 up through the prototype classes. As the safety car pulls in, we get ready to go green as we come up towards the line. Edwards, Hasler, who's going to get the jump down to turn 1, or will any of the fishies, any of the piranhas in behind them, assault them down towards
green and they're
this
off.
first lap? Let's go here.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to snip on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanek and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. Very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Let you see if we get a good run. Dodd's just absolute thinker, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome along to the Motorsport Australia Formula V Nationals. I completely forgot where I was for a minute there. Good morning, my name is James Parfitt. I'm alongside the booth with Andrew Cowie here again, and we're going to bring you all the action where we can. Cowie, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Mate, I'm doing pretty good. As I was telling you off camera, had a bit of a weird weekend where I had a gig and then I didn't have a gig, and then we were going to live stream and then we didn't because I ended up getting another gig. It was just a weird weekend, but it was good fun.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a good one, mate. But we have got some Formula Vs for round 4 at Oulton Park here this morning, bud. What do we expect? We've got a bit of a lighter field than normal.
Look, it is a great track. I'm a bit surprised that a few of the boys are missing tonight, because fast and flowing, and if there's ever a track that's going to suit the Formula V, I think this is one. You got elevation changes, you've got there's these marshalling stations. I was reading up about the track and a couple of interesting bits of info where they have been hit and collected so many times in the past that they're actually like reinforced cages, almost castles in the middle of the track.
Yeah, they don't position them in a good place, should we say, and they're in runoff areas. You'll be able to see a Marshall station just actually on the bottom there. It was on the right hand side as you go through. But I think overall the circuit itself is going to be very interesting for these Vs. That is probably more suited to the Formula Vs than it is some of the heavy GT3 cars, because it's not very wide in general. And that's the thing with this track, is not very wide, so these guys are going to have to get kind of quite creative. And for Formula Vs this is wide. You can probably go 3 or 4 wide quite easily down here, but for others not so much. And I think it could be a very interesting evening of racing.
I think close action. Look, there's enough long straights here that toe and draft is going to come back into the equation. You can see those fast-flowing sections and plenty of room to go 2 or 3 wide. I mean, that's what we come to watch, isn't it? That's what these things are all about. Get up alongside and battling hard.
Yeah, definitely. And what they don't want to do is battle so hard they shoot each other up into the air by hitting tyres. That would be another different conversation altogether. It's been a very interesting season, Cowie, this one. It's, I don't know. I just found it a very interesting season on the Vs and how they're getting on. And some of these people, as you say, have never driven these cars before. And then we've got some that are now more and more coming over to the Formula V than they are taking other series.
Well, Caleb Bellac is the man who has sort of run away with things so far. At the moment, he's sort of in that middle pack as far as the practice times goes, but with about a minute and a half to go before qualifying starts, I'm sure he's ready to up his game. But yeah, look, it's been interesting. Daniel Byrne, we'll have a look at now. He's one of the guys that's fallen foul of the other side of racing, where he's got caught up in a couple of things of his own design as well as things of other people's design, and he's sort of well down in the standings at the moment, but still a very fast driver and capable of racing up front.
Definitely. Definitely. I know Dan, obviously, with Bernie, he's had his own little kind of situation, hasn't he, Daniel Burns? And as you say, caught up in things of his own doing, caught up in things that aren't his own doing. It's been a very tough season for Daniel Byrne as well. Di Feldman out on track currently at the moment there as well. I'm not entirely sure what is going on with that track map, but we can get rid of that there as well. And I think Di Feldman has had a very interesting season. There's a lot of people that are going to be happy with their seasons that they've had, haven't they? And that's the thing, as long as you can go away and actually smile about what you've really produced yourself and done yourself this season, you've had a good season overall.
Well, we've had a couple of moments in the first few races this season of these cars, but it is everyone sort of trying to find their feet, work out how close they can race together. We know that it has its own little pitfalls. Although it looks like a pencil on wheels, it's pretty sharp, that little tip. it doesn't take much at pace to, you know, cop a hit from behind and unsettle the car in front, and he goes for a ride, and then you go for a drive through pit lane.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget Race Control on it tonight as well, and there will be any form of action. I'm sure them guys will be there with safety cars as well. That would be absolutely amazing here. But it's going to be very exciting. I can just see this being almost a classic here, and hopefully that's what we see tonight, Cowie.
Look, it is such a fast-flowing track here. There are sections where you can really run wide and carry a lot of speed. We've seen before the Formula V is all about carrying that momentum, but we've also seen different tactics from the drivers, different driving styles, where people are trying to carry more entry speed, others are looking at that mid-corner speed, and of course it's all about being able to get back on it on the exit.
Yeah, that's the thing. We know this is a very momentum-based car, isn't it, the Formula V? It's not a high-powered, gruffing machine. It is a momentum-based car. They've got to keep the revs up. They've got to keep it out of second gear. Don't ever go down the first unless you're getting... Well, saying that, some don't even use first to get off the grid, though, Cowie. That's the thing, isn't it? You've got to know how to drive this car, and then once you know how to drive the car, you'll know how to drive it fast, because it's not an easy car by any shape of imagination.
You don't touch second in these things, except maybe to get it off the line, because again the problem is just the rev matching between, you know, you need to use a heel or toe technique to get it exact, and it's super hard to do that right in these cars. So generally you'll find they'll sit a lot of the lap in third and fourth, and already Jay Dixon showing us what those curves are going to be like if you just get a little bit unsettled.
Yeah, it definitely is as well. Don't forget here with these this evening we have got Britons and Hislop, so it's going to be very interesting to see what these little Vs are going to be able to do here and how they're going to get on, and whether or not it's just all going to go completely Pete Tong. Well, you can see the thing is with them chicanes, although in other cars it's like a virtual stop in some of them, right? Your GT3s, your more powerful cars. In these, it does look like you can just kind of go full flat and through the chicane going. That's the thing. You know, it's not really changing any kind of perspective, are they, of what they're doing in conjunction of rev-wise?
Look, the thing is, it's all about unsettling the car. I mean, you're trying to carry as much speed as you can, but if you hit them wrong, it can really unsettle the balance of the car. And if it launches you and you're unbalanced, that's a recipe for disaster when you land. But, I mean, being a little bit lower pace than some cars, it does tackle certain sections of this track a lot easier, the chicanes, but that doesn't mean you can go to sleep, as we just saw a perfect example there of Jackson having to avoid another car. But that's what I mean, you know, if you do have that little bit of a lapse in concentration, well, this car is going to bite hard.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like any form of car, though. You've either got to be on it all day, every day, or you can't, because it's one shape or form and it's going to kill you, especially coming round corners on the run down into Cascades from Old Hall, then go onto Islands and Shell Oils. You've got to be there all the time, especially with all of these cars around you.
It's also, remember, this is one of those cars that's got a long history of being used in sort of development series and feeder series, because it's one of those cars that the thin wheelbase means that, you know, you've got to get to the edge of that grip and really get a handle on driving this car on a knife's edge. Now, the lack of power, so to speak, makes that a little bit easier for you to be able to learn to drive on the edge. And I mean, that's why so many drivers cut their teeth, you know, in these sort of cars when they first get into real world racing, because it just teaches you of how to feel the car when it's on the edge.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? You've just got to know. If you know, you know. But if you don't know, then you're never going to know, because at the end of the day, I sounded like a philosopher then, or some form of teacher at that point. That was a very bizarre moment, but you get the drift though, don't you? Like people like Wakefield and obviously Fahey, then you've got Byrne, then you've got Pocock, you've got of course Ballack. Ballack is just, wow, at times he can dominate the field, and you know, it's just one of them things, isn't it? And not do that. But
don't know if there was contact there or not.
Was that with Douglas? I think it was, wasn't it?
That could be rather interesting. Because that's Caleb, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
Spellick.
a penalty here would put him in a pit lane start or a rear of grid. They're pretty close together.
His nose is going to hit him. It's that little nose.
It's that little. Yep, we talked about it, and it's happened again. So I wonder if that's going to put our current series leader at the back of the pack for race 1. We're going to have to see about that one.
Well, that should be that'll be eventful if that's what the situation is as well. Welcome in, by the way, guys. If you are sat at home watching, Mr. Kevin O'Neill, welcome in, and Sheafy, of course, and Caleb. Should be good fun tonight. He says, "Well, yeah, you could be in for a bit of a shocking opener, to be honest, Caleb. But let's just see how it goes here as well." I'm really looking forward to this. The Oulton Park is a circuit that I do enjoy, and I think it's one that really can get that motor racing juices kind of energy flowing out of it, and I think it should be some great racing. Surely we should see a classic with it not at Oulton Park.
It is a very good track. I think regardless of the car you drive, it's nice and tight. As we said, these things being a little bit smaller may create some more passing opportunities. But it definitely is a lively, fun track to drive. And the chicanes around the back here are quite tight. But again, this car is how much speed do you sacrifice to make sure you can handle the corner? How close to the edge do you drive this thing? When we were talking about that, I was going to say, the prices in a lot of direct drive steering wheels and equipment that's been coming out in sim racing over the last 5 years is making it even sort of more accessible. Because if you can feel those instances where the wheel goes really light, that's letting you know you're right on the edge of grip.
Yeah. And I felt that last night, Gary. I did something rather interesting last night. For the first time, actually, on an American broadcast, we did a drive and commentary stream. I was driving a Gen 4 around Twingring-Matigi Oval and commentating at the same time alongside my co-coms. It was a very interesting experience, I'm not going to lie. And it didn't go well for me. I finished the race. Mind you, it was 110 laps. But I did finish a few laps down there as well. These guys I was racing with were very experienced in the Gen 4s. But if you've never done an experience, Cowie, try commentating and racing at the same time.
Well, I got my own streaming channel where I race and talk crap anyway, buddy, so I'm probably halfway there at least. But no, it's good fun. Let's have a look at the times so far. What'll be about halfway through qualifying, and it is Caleb Bellack on top of the pack with a 1:57.98. No word from race control yet on any decision regarding his incident, we think, with Jake Douglas.
Yeah.
Sam Chapman P2 at the moment, 1:58.26. He's got a couple of tenths on Adrian Loretti in P3. Daniel Byrne P4. Scott Pocock P5. Jace Douglas just outside that in P6. I know Jace is looking forward to tonight. So is Ray as well.
Yeah, Ray's a YouTube show. I do love what he's put there.
Talking about Rick Johnson's 4-cylinder engine out of the Ford, yeah. That Sierra did used to scream up and down the mountain and was awesome sounding. I mean, it's the one thing that you could sort of, as a long-time V8 supercar lover and just Bathurst in general, the Sierras were a shock to the system, almost as bad as the Skyline when the Nissan Skyline came in, but not quite. But they were a bit of a shock to the system. But when you heard them, and you heard them for real, they sounded amazing.
I saw a thing the other day which was detrimental to the Ford Sierra, right? I go out and deliver with my old son. My old little boy's got a paper round, bless him, he's only 12, and he goes out, we go out every time, and I go to this one house, and I sit there in complete, utter disbelief as there's two Ford Sierra 4x4s sitting on his driveway, rusting away, not worked on, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, I don't think you realise what you've got sat on your driveway. I saw a 4x4, a Ford Sierra it was, and it went up for auction and it sold for £80,000 as well. So, and this guy's got two of them sat on his driveway just rusting away, Cowie.
Yeah, probably should put a tarp over them at least, but
Nope.
yeah, that is almost sacrilegious, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was gutted. I almost felt like knocking on the door saying, "Can I just have them, please, so we can do them up?" You know what I mean? But they were great cars. My granddad used to have a Ford Sierra, bless him, a little 70-year-old who could barely see over the steering wheel. Never took it above 60 ever in his life, so that was a bit of a shame. But there we go. Let's get back up to these little Formula Vs here, and we've got some times on the board. We have got quite the half of the field. We've got 4 drivers that have not got times on the board at the moment here, so that should be an interesting one to see how they go. I don't know if starting from the back is going to be the best policy at a circuit like this, because that general mid-pack action can end up causing somewhat of a little bit of drama around Old Halls coming into Cascades. And if you're going to go too wide at Island Bend, well, you better be facilitating both sides, because it could go completely, utterly wrong there. We know they've done a grass update and it's not so ice, should we say, and they've added depth to it and the gravel. But as I saw last night in their free race, it doesn't quite stop the cars as much as people would hope for, should we say, going into that corner. So that's going to be a very interesting one, I think, as well, Cowie. Side by side through Islands. Look out for it as the broadcast goes on, because I can guarantee somebody somewhere, and it will happen at some point.
This is a little mini roller coaster, this track. It's got great speed, great elevation changes. Probably akin to Oulton Park in a way, I think. Maybe a bit bigger version of Oulton Park. And again, another track where we're going in these cars as well. So another one to look forward to coming up as the season progresses. But yeah, look, these things are trickier than you realise to drive. And then you've got the guys that are prepared to run it right to the edge and drive them near the limit. And that's another thing again.
Yeah, it's very difficult with motor racing, I think, in general, especially sim racing. If you haven't got sound setups right, if you haven't got, you're being able, your steering wheel, your force feedback, it's everything to give you a little bit of an extra edge. And to be able to hear tyres screaming at you, and to be able to hear all of these things, you've got to make sure you're working on your sound settings, because you can't just have everything maxed up to the max, because you're not going to hear anything. And I think you've got to be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. You've got to be aware of the cars around you, what's going on as well. Jeff Murray, howdy, gents. Howdy, dear sir. How are you? Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and do all that other fancy jazz that you can do here on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for that one, as we're going to enjoy what will be a very interesting round 4 here. It's going to be action. I think the fact that we've only got barely a second across the top 7, we've got a little bit further out from 9, from 8 downwards. So it's a good spread. They're always going to have somebody to race with, but it's how you race that person. And I think it's knowing who you can race, knowing who you can't race, knowing who sometimes it's best just to let through, because, there are the odd driver out there who's mightily aggressive and throws his nose up every inside gap it possibly can have. And it's going to be exciting, I think, and it's going to be really, really interesting to see how these guys cope, because they're not going to have long either. When you're doing close to 2-minute laps, and you've got 15 minutes, you're only going to get about 7 or 8 laps in.
One of the things for these cars, you take a defensive line and try and defend against one car, then that just enables the other 3 that are following there to sweep around the outside as a group, and then you're suddenly 4th or 5th. So, it is one of those things where you've got to keep that momentum up, and although you can drive those defensive lines, it's going to compromise your speed. And again, why we see this car getting used so much in feeder series and for young drivers is because it teaches them, where it gives them some space to work with on the road, but a car that's right on the edge of the grip, but it's not impossible to control. Though I think in a sim, as you were saying before, all of the great equipment that's coming out now can help. The one thing you can't replicate in the sim is those G-forces. But, the technology is coming along where we're getting a great experience, in our living rooms.
that's the thing as well. I have the pleasure of commentating on someone who's got a full motion simulator that he uses to drive, and I do talk to him after Sebring and ask him if he's still got all of his teeth, because we know Sebring is a very bumpy circuit, and in a motion simulator it's very, very, because he says to me, Jason, he goes, you can set it at different levels. So you kind of sit back, oh, don't do that. Okay, Darren, well done, son. So you can set it at different levels. You can have 100% motion and stuff like that. And that must be absolutely crazy. But we have come to the end of qualifying here once more. Let's bring you up the grid. It will be Caleb Bellick on that front row with Scott Pocock alongside him on row 1. On row 2, you got Daniel Byrne and Sam Chapman. On row 3, Adrian Loretti and Darren Fahey. On row 4, it's Miles Bond and Jace Douglas. On row 5, Pete Ziedler and John Schultz. When you got Graham Dooley and Dean Sinkovich on row 6. Row 7, Chalfillo on 13 alongside Kevin Wakefield. On row 8 is Martin Walker and Di Feldman. On row 9, Jackson Domain and Stephen Sinkovich. And then on row 10 is Tyson McAvoy and Jay Dixon. And you got Mike Rush. Then you got Dan Schultz and Ben Simpson there as well. So about 23 cars, I think, are going to take to this track here. And, well, Cowie, who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think at the moment, Caleb Bellick has shown his class so far, led from the front most of these races. Again, putting on pole. Good to see Daniel Byrne up there, so I'm expecting Byrne to have a great race tonight and maybe be the first person to take the fight to Caleb. Scott Pocock also up the front there, and I know from watching Scott in the F3s, he can certainly be fast, and perhaps Oulton Park tonight, a track that's dear to his heart.
Yeah, well, let's see how these guys get on. They are going to grid currently at the moment there. Matthew is in YouTube chat. Is that the real Caleb Bellick that races Formula Fords?
I think Caleb is a real world racer, buddy, so very well could be.
Could well be.
Jet's racing on the weekend didn't have a great weekend, unfortunately, Jet, but I'm sure he'll bounce back. Yeah, look, we've got quite a few real world races. I know that I think the SRW boys were talking about another driver that was driving the Utes down at Bathurst on the weekend as well.
Nice. Got to love the Bathurst 12 hour. It was quite interesting the other day, and watching Bathurst 12 hour races, there were so many people out there who was streaming their POVs, and so many times I popped in and to have a look, and you know, they were at moments there was very frustrated anger, should we say, on these POV broadcasts, and they do make them quite interesting. If you haven't ever watched POVs on like low endurance events, you should go and have a look, and not always obviously the broadcasted commentated events as such, but the POVs do get quite interesting there as well, and some of the voice chatter makes it for very interesting viewing. We're just waiting for the final cars to get on to the grid now again, and we've got a few more here before we get this up and running for the first heat today. Right, the lights are going to be coming on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are green, green, green with Caleb Bellick out in front. He got a jump off the line. Dan Byrne did a great one there as well. Sam Chapman's Pocock did not get a good one. Coming down into Old Hall at the moment. Further back, they are too wide at one point there as well. There was Graham Dooley in the mix. He's battling away with Jace Douglas. There's a spinner there as well. Hold your brakes! There, and that was unfortunately Dean Sinkovich as he's gone off, but Caleb Bellick comes through Cascades for the first time. He has survived. Dan Byrne in second, Sam Chapman third, and Scott Pocock in fourth as they're coming down into Ireland for the first time. They're going to be too wide. Second back there, Chapman and Byrne. You can see you've got to be a little bit careful. Chapman's going to have a run. Is he going to be able to send it out the inside of Shell Oils? He's not. He takes that second place, but he does not get first. And unfortunately for Dean Sinkovich and Charles Filo, by the looks of it here as well, Cowie, they've gone round at the beginning of race 1.
You take a breath in that little section there, buddy. We saw the cars fighting hard. Now they're into the line as they go down the back straight. But yes, buddy, awesome start. Plenty of action as we come to expect with these Formula Vs.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see them now, Sam Chapman and Byrne. They're going side by side into Hislop's. They're going to come out the other side. Now they've got the right-hander of Knickerbrook before they start heading up for the first time up through Clay Hill and Water Tower. There you can see the Advan Bridge right in front of us as these guys are battling once more. We've got Miles Bond. He is literally nose to tail with Loretti. Is he going to take it too wide through Druids here, or is Miles going to settle in? He's going to look to open up the door. He's forcing Loretti to run that V wide. Now they go on the run down into Lodge Corner. Here as well, you can see Adrian Loretti, Miles Bond battling out. Bond on the left in the 86, Loretti on the outside. There's been a swap up front as well. Sam Chapman has taken Bellick coming into Lodge. Now they're dropped out Deer Leap, and now they're coming over for the very first time to complete the first lap here this evening.
Daniel Byrne with a good run here too, but looks like he's just content to stick in behind Bellac for the moment. Scott Pocock was a little bit weak off the line, but he's done well to stay with this lead pack. And is that Darren Fahey also sticking with it? Look, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars all connected to the front runner. This is going to be awesome, buddy. 20 minutes around here, the little whippets.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering where we're going to be on fuel as well, Cowie. We've come accustomed to some mad fuel saving from Caleb Bellick to get through to the end. Are they going to need to do that again? Are we going to see it here that we're too wide further back with Loretti? Now we've got Ziedler coming through. We've got Douglas trying to get into the mix as well. There's going to be contact very, very shortly if they don't give each other a little bit more room. Miles Bond there does make it through. Darren Fahey, there was slight little bit of iggly wigglies on the further back. That was Loretti, Douglas there as well. And we did call it, Cowie. They've got to be close. You cannot be too close to these cars, because if you lock wheels, it's all over.
It's extremely close racing there. The boys doing really well though. No contact. It looked close, but it was all clean. Back up front here, Caleb Bellac, Daniel Byrne, Scott Poker staying close. Bond now up into P5, but yeah, I think, look, does Caleb sit back here for a while now? Is fuel going to be an issue? It has been for 2 weeks. So, has race control made it a bit easier on these gents, or do you need to stay in this little train? Let's have a listen.
It doesn't seem to be. He didn't come off through Lodge there, and it didn't. Yeah, it's a difficult one to really hear with these cars, and he needs to do it now.
Well, we're not hearing a big clutching or anything like that.
No, I think they're going to go. Let's see how they go. I think if the fuel saving's going to happen, you're going to hear it. It's going to be very, very light. You know, it's going to be a lift of a throttle. It's going to be making sure that you can stay behind him there as Dan Byrne. And now we've got Bellick on the run down to Islands in front of us. Chapman in front of that. We've got Pocock right behind us. Bond again. Byrne sticks his nose out. He says, hello, I'm here once more. But you cannot go running too wide through Islands, because that grass and them tyre barriers will eat you alive. We drop down into Shell Oils, using all the camber as much as we can. Onto the gas we go, and now on that run up into Britain's here once more. It's all about what they're going to be able to do. Big puff of smoke out of Bellick. He's now into Britain's to the right hand. I'll come out to the left. Now we're going to go on the run down over the hilltop, down into Hislops, and we are as we are, and we're still in the same places we were previously, apart from the fact that Dan Byrne has got an ever-flying Bond right up beside him there as well. Oh, they're going to... No, they didn't.
That was Pocock almost being able to take advantage of that there. Miles giving it, I think that was probably the full half send. It was pretty close to a full send, but he's got away with it. It does give a little bit of a gap to Daniel Byrne, Caleb Bellac and Sam Chapman. But we see once you get a couple of cars fighting, it just brings everyone into it. And at the moment, the front three are just, you know, running line astern. But Miles, he's not going to play that game. He's looking to take every opportunity to jump as far up as he can.
Yeah, Miles Bond's looking very racy. I've got to be honest, he's up 3 places there. It looks like Dooley's had a little bit of a ta-ta-ta with himself, possibly there as well. But let's have a look and see what Dooley got himself up to here. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Is it all on his own? That's going to be the question as he comes down into Lodge. He's going to be too much. Your back end's already going there, son. And around he goes, unfortunately for Dooley. Just sits there now and looks at the tyre barrier. Now we've got Darren Fahey. Well, this cannot be really any closer here as Faley, Ziedler, Pocock, Bond as well. Look at the action further up. That was Dan Byrne and Miles Bond battling it out here. And we just managed to get on. And what's going to happen? Bond's trying to run him around the outside. He's using all of that camber. Is he going to go? Miles, you are looking like a man possessed this evening. And you've done a great job. But can you get up the inside of Byrne? Leaving room on the exit. Leaving room. Oh.
Way through the chicane there. That's great driving from all of them. But look at how much it slowed them up, because now you've got about 4 or 5 cars behind. Pocock looking for a way through. Ziedler caught in there. Douglas.
He's got it wrong.
Who's that that's running deep? Ziedler's run deep.
Yeah, Pete got it all wrong. He got distracted by what was going on. He had that driver's tunnel vision, and unfortunately as he come into Hislop's there, he got it all a little bit wrong. Missed his braking point. Now he's got to struggle to get back up onto the back end of this pack as well. But Dan Byrne is in the mix. He's got a very fast charging Miles Bond here. Miles doing an absolute stellar job, and I think if he cleared Byrne, it would not be long before he's on the back of Belloc and Chapman as these guys go down into Lodge now as we go in. Literally about 8 minutes just gone, and Bond's just gone past Daniel Byrne.
Daniel Byrne running a bit wide there as Byrne has got that position done, and now Byrne under attack from Scott Pocock as well. So see, you get caught in a little battle, you just lose a little bit of time. And you can see there the off-track. I don't think Daniel was worried about that in the slightest.
No.
Try to carry as much speed as he could.
Look at Miles now. Look, he got up to him. I said to you it wouldn't take him long if he cleared Byrne, and he did clear Byrne, and then he was almost on the back of Belloc before we even got through Cascades. Now we're on the run down Lakeside, coming into Island Bend here as well. You can see the cars. You've got 2, 4, 6, 8 of them bombing away. Bond's got it all wrong.
Miles gone wide.
Oh, he's done it. Managed to hold on to it there as well. But Miles Bond, after all that fast chasing, now we've got Belloc and Byrne. They're right away together as they're on the run through Britons as well. Belloc and Byrne going at it. Chapman's in there. I'm not even sure if Chapman isn't fully aware what's going on here. I'm sure he'd be able to see, but Pocock.
Again.
Oh, man. These guys are not letting up here this evening.
This is awesome stuff. We got changes for position. We got fights. They're going through too wide through some of the tightest sections of this track. I mean, it's exactly what we came here to see. And part of the reason these cars have such great appeal for the viewing audience.
Yeah, Chapman's going to have to be a little bit careful here because he did disappear for about 100 metres then. So Chapman needs to make sure whatever is going on, it can settle down there. Miles Bond has got to make his way back through. He's passed all of these guys once. He then went wide coming out of Ireland, and now he's got to pass them all again, unfortunately for Miles Bond. Ziedler's in the background. He's trying to catch up at the moment. He's got Dixon tucked up behind him.
Some good avoidance going there. Remember, there's no brake lights on these cars, so I think that was great there in the background. It might have been Jace Douglas, or was it Miles that had to make quick avoiding action there. The battle up front, it is Belloc trying to chase down Sam Chapman. He's got Daniel Byrne right on his tail. So, although Sam got a little bit of a jump, these two have just focused, and look, they've caught him back up inside half a lap.
Yeah, we've had Pocock and Ziedler both go into the pits. So, is that through choice, or is that the start of the fact that we are seeing people think, actually, if I top up now, then I can get to the end. What do we think? Because we know fuel's played a massive part in these cars. And Bellick has even said he's fuel saved. And he messaged me actually after Laguna and said I literally did about 15 minutes practice. And I knew that even at that point, with that few laps, I knew we would have to save fuel. And for me, that's just incredible. But are we seeing it here at Oulton Park as well? That's going to be the question, as Feldman is also into the pits.
Certainly not a drive-through for any of those guys, so we'll keep an eye on this front pack here. But it has been really close. No safety car tonight to maybe stretch it out. So is it a recurring theme with this series, buddy? We're going to be tight on fuel if it stays clean.
I'm thinking that, mate. I am solidly thinking that fuel may play a bit more of a part than I think we expected. You can see the front five in front of us. We're on Miles Bond's roll bar there as well, with his little GoPro providing all the pictures here. You can see what's going up in front. Bond's gone in, Bellick's gone in. They're all going to try and take the lead. Bellick's going to get past Chapman. Oh, dude, sort it out. Can't have it disappearing. Now we're going to go 3 wide. We're in the middle. We're feeling it here as well. The wind's in our face. Now we're going into Old Hall. We're going to go side by side with Douglas. We see Chapman. We see Byrne. We see Bellick in front of us. Miles Bond, I've got to be honest, I don't know where he's got this pace from, but he's got pace for days here this evening.
He is enjoying his racing here tonight and certainly get plenty of opportunities to show off his passing skills. But yeah, look, it's been exciting, buddy, and this is what we wanted to see. But you can see, you know, like once you get to the front, it's hard to get away. You can't break away because they can just work together and get you back, and then it's a 5-way battle again.
Yeah, it's like a little drag race, and you know, you can imagine these cars on the drag strip at Santa Pod or somewhere like that, and you're sitting there to see how long they would take to do a quarter mile. But you can see it where Bellick tries to break away, right? We know Bellick's fast. He's not. Oh, not on a straight. Not on a straight. Please don't do that on a straight.
Miles Bond trying to get up the inside of Jace Douglas here, but Jace has gone in deep. Was there contact there?
I don't know if there was contact.
He's had to take the escape road, but that will put him onto the back of the pack. We've got about 6.5 minutes of this motor race, so he will have time to get back onto that battle, but he's got to be careful or they're going to leave him well behind.
Yeah, he's going to have to get on it once more here. Fahey's trying to also get into the action. He's got the fast charging Bond there. Bellick has now got Byrne. Byrne got Chapman. Chapman's going to want it back surely as well as they're coming down now into Lodge. They're going to be on the brakes, dipping it down, trying to get as close inside as they can. Now Bond has got through again. Where did he come from there as well? Because he was miles back.
Who's that that's run off the inside? I think that was Feldman that was getting out of the way there. So that's good stuff from Dye getting out of the way. But wow, pretty heated up here and they're battling hard and it's still not over.
Yeah, Miles Bond's come to the front again here and is literally chasing down Bellick now. We've got the front five on your screen at the moment. We've got Bellick, Bond, Byrne and Chapman all fighting out with Fahey sitting there in the back like a pouncing tiger here as well. Hidden Dragon, is he going to wait for what's going to happen? Are we going to see complete and utter carnage? And there goes Bond again. He is just sending it. He is just saying, get out of my way. I am coming through. I'm a reincarnation of Max Verstappen from Australia. Here's Miles Bond. He's doing a stellar job, isn't he?
Oh, he's run a little wide there, giving Caleb a run on him. Also Sam Chapman with a run around the outside of Daniel Byrne. So Daniel's gone from first to fourth in the space of about half a lap. That's how close this racing is at the moment.
Chapman got it all wrong going through Britain's, and he missed the tyre barrier by what can only be described as a nose hair, because it was very, very tight on Chapman's exit. And unfortunately, where he had to try and lift off and hit the brakes to make sure he didn't hit the barrier, they've lost nearly a second to Bellick and Bond. And I don't know if that's going to matter or whether or not their guys going to be able to work together here. But boy, oh boy, this front battle is not done. We've got the leader in the championship of Bellick. We've got the fast charging Miles Bond. They're going into Druids here as well. They dip it in. Now they're going to look for the exit curb. There it is on that run now down into Lodge. And it is Bellick and Bond out in front. The double Bs doing the business here this evening.
One of our race controllers, Tyson, in the chat saying, what a race. I agree, buddy. This is crazy stuff. They are racing hard and fast and close. And to think that we've still got 5 of them battling for P1 inside the final 4 minutes of this first race bodes pretty good for what's going to happen in race number 2, buddy.
Yeah, it is. You can see Chapman and the group behind have slowly pulled these guys back in. We're back to 2 temps again here now as well. Miles Bond dropping into Cascades. He's got the lead. Chapman's there blinking a little bit as well. We don't want that. Bellick's in the mix now. This is the closest battle on your screen. This is the one that's taking precedent. They're going to go and try and go too wide through Islands again. Bondy, you've already struggled once out of here, son. Let's not do it again. He manages to hold on. Now he's got to go and send it in deep. Late on the brakes through Shell Oils. Gets the job done. Chapman's now going to come through. Follow Bond's line. Follow Bond's line. You might be able to get Bellick on the exit. Not this time. Bellick's now going to try and send it up as they're coming into Brilliance once more. Oh, he went. Oh, dearie me. Miles Bond disappeared at the wrong point there.
You know who else is loving seeing all of this action out front? That'd be Jace Douglas, because he's now caught right up onto the back of that pack. And you can see behind him, John Schultz is getting close to joining this action. So we're going to have 6, maybe 7 cars battling here for the last few laps of this motor race.
Yeah, we've lost Bellick as well. Unfortunately, Bellick's gone and blinkered off, unfortunately. Now he's back again. It looks like there's a couple of people out of these front pack having internet issues. What about the Carlin Motorsports of Byrne? Well, Byrne's still on here as well. You can see Bellick and Bond. They're into Druids. Bellick's going to force Bond out on that wide line here again. Now it's going to be a 6-car fight as they're going to be coming over the line. It's going to be a very close over the line, mind you, because this might actually be the final lap of the race if they don't get over there in about the next 8 seconds. But we'll pay attention to see if Barney's waving here as well. Don't wave yet, sir. Let's give us one more lap. Give us one more lap.
There it is, white flag from Barney. Unfortunately, Mick Rush was given a black flag for an incident in the race, but it is up front where all the action is. See them running wide. They're not worried about the 1X there. It's all about momentum and pace. But it is Bond in the front, Bellick, Chapman, Byrne, now Fahey and Douglas on the back of this pack. This is awesome battling.
This could be absolutely anybody's race here as well, and this is how it's all going to pan out. Bellick's going to take Bond side by side in Islands. Douglas is going to take Fahey side by side as well. It's anybody's race. Bond's going to go and send it in. Chapman, we're 2 wide, 3 deep. Currently at the moment, we've got Bellick and Bond. We've got Chapman and Byrne, and we've got Douglas and Fahey as they're on the run up into Brilliance. What is going to happen? This is either going to be incredibly clean, or somebody is going to go and fly off to the moon. That's all I can faithfully say there as well. There's action behind it. Sure, they've crashed.
I think it was contact between Chapman, maybe Byrne caught in that. Looks like Douglas has got caught up in it. They're all stuck together now. And, we saw it was possibly going to happen, buddy, but look at how close it is here.
Oh, Byrne goes into Chapman. Byrne's there as well. Schultz has said thanks very much. I'm on my bike, and Chapman's still there, and unfortunately it all went a little bit Pete Tong for some of the others. So that has kind of destroyed the battle on the final lap. It's allowed Bellick to come through. Oh, Caleb Bellick there with Miles Bond. John Schultz has said, cheers, boys. I'm going to take a podium all day there as well. As they come over the line for what can only be deemed as one of an epic race one. It is Caleb Bellick takes the checkered flag with Miles Bond there and John Schultz and Sam Chapman behind that. Now we've got Douglas and Byrne. They've decided they're going to go back and have their own little battle as they're coming down into Lodge now as well. Douglas inside that top 9. Byrne is there as well in 10th. Now he's got the run down into the line. Byrne's gone out to the left-hand side here as well. Is it going to be Douglas? Is it going to be Ben? It is Douglas by literally a skin of the teeth there as well. I want to see if I can see what happened there, because that was very unfortunate from these guys as well. And you can see,
I think they're just so close, mate. So close together. It's easy to get a little bump. Like I said, there's a check there.
Yep.
Yeah, so you see one check turns into 2 checks, turns into 3 checks, turns into 4 checks. Unfortunately, Jace rides, and then as Darren at the back of it as well, and those guys got nowhere to go, but it was just maybe a tiny little bit of wheel spin from Caleb there at the front that just checked everyone behind him. It's crazy.
Yeah, it definitely is, and you are right there as well. Mike Rush has come over the line. What's happening down here with Walker and Sinkovic? It was Walker who got it there as well, and wow, just wow. On that one.
I was going to say that reminded me of watching the Daytona 500 the other day, where you could just see the pack of cars together, and the commentators are like, "It's coming, it's coming, it's coming." Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
We just knew it was so close. They were racing so close. Last lap, look, you can't hold against these guys. I mean, it's last lap. They're trying for the glory, and that's what these cars are all about. So sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. Caleb Bellett is your winner with Miles Bond in second. John Schultz, he was just like, I've won the lottery. I'm taking the podium. There, Schultz, he come through. What was the carnage with Chapman in fourth, Dixon fifth, Loretti in sixth, Scott Pocock in seventh, Stephen Sinkovic in eighth, Dan Byrne in Jason Douglas in ninth, Dan Byrne in 10th. Then you got Darren Fahey, Peter Ziedler, Graham Dooley, Mike Rush, Charles Philo, Kevin Wakefield, Martin Walker, Dean Sinkovic and Di Feldman. And then beyond that as well is Ben Simpson. So great action here once again. Great racing, Cowie. I think, that was just absolutely epic.
Well, I mean, for Schultzy, although he got a podium out of it, the front two are supposed to get taken out as well, buddy, so he could have had his bread. It was a podium, but there's two other guys that managed to stay front.
Yeah, you can't wish that on anybody there as well. But some great action once more. Jason, driver of the day, said Jacob Lucas there as well, with and Matthew and Blake all going agree. So there you go. But there was some great action there, wasn't there?
Oh, it's just so close, and we see how the tiniest little incident can just affect every car behind. And we saw a little concertina tap that got slightly worse the further we got back in the field.
The thing is, you can't sit back. As you say, I was watching the Ambetta 400 last night with the Cup Series, and there was a big one in that. And that was the same scenario. Somebody checked up in front, and literally the complete outside line had nowhere to go. And they all just check, bang. And literally, before you know it, there was loads of cars involved. And that was the scenario. Miles checked up coming through Britain's, and unfortunately there as well, everybody behind him had nowhere to go because they're relying on you getting through cleanly. And unfortunately, when you did have to make a little check-up like Miles did, it just brought everybody else into it. And it's hard. It is really hard there as well. So, as always say, it's hard to fly like an eagle when surrounded by galahs. He says, maybe you might be better off reading that line. You got the galahs in a better Australian accent than I have.
I think I've heard that turkeys and various other avian references with that one. But yeah, I believe you were watching the V8 race the other night and said something about contact. I was involved with the race control. It was good fun watching it.
I have my tendency to get myself in trouble. That's due to the fact I just get too free-spoken and outspoken about incidents. And, and that's the thing. And I can't think that there was an incident that you were involved with. And I was sitting back going, I'll tell you what, if Cowie calls that in, he's softer than a wet orange. There was no way that should be called in as well. It was just close racing. You made contact. I can't think who it was with, to be honest. And I was like, nope, if Cowie calls that in, you wait till I see him.
I think it was one that where I got tapped and went for a send. Sometimes when the car's unloaded, and you're sort of, you're coasting into the braking zone looking for a big turn. All it takes is the tiniest of taps to send you flying. So, but look, I had a great time on Tuesday night racing hard with the boys, and like these Formula Vs, I tend to find myself in a three-way sandwiches down the hangar straight. I think that happened twice this last week.
Yeah, you were at Silverstone, weren't you? I think that's what it was. I went in and spoke to Steve and Hamish there as well. And then I sat back and watched it, and it was it was great racing. Don't get me wrong, and it's like I said to Steve, maybe I'll jump into V8s there as well. Give Cowie a bit of grief on a Tuesday morning.
Well, the thing you've got to ask yourself as with a race controller's hat on, the first question that they ask is, okay, was the car that made contact, was he in control of the car? And if the answer is no, then that likely means a penalty's coming that way. So sometimes we can see that the incident is so close, it's so slight, but all it can be is if you're not in control of the car, then you're the one that's made the mistake, that's contributed, that's made that incident happen. That's generally the way race control looks at it. The other thing I'll say in their defence is they look at a lot more angles than we do, so sometimes we don't pick up the nuances of, sometimes it's easy to miss a brake marker and completely, not just miss it by a few metres, but miss it like a whole sign, so it's 50 metres. And when that happens, it scares you.
Yeah. Right, we have got the grid up for race 2. It is going to be Dan Burner, Jason Douglas at the front with Stephen Sinkovich, Scott Pocock, Adrian Loretti and Jay Dixon. Then we've got Sam Chapman, John Schultz, Miles Bond and Caleb Bellick. Then we've got Darren Fahey and Peter Ziedler. We've got Graham Dooley, Mike Rush, Charles Philo, Kevin Wakefield, Martin Walker and Dean Sinkovich, Di Feldman and Ben Simpson. Then we've got Jackson Domain in there as well. So some great action, more to come here as well. And I think we could be in for a very exciting in race 2, especially with the likes of Caleb Bellick coming through, of course, with that top 10 reverse.
It is. It also means that Daniel Byrne finishing in 10th there, so him and Jace battling at the end there of that race 1 after that incident. They'll be right up the front. Sam Chapman, John Schultz, Miles Davis and Caleb Bellick well back in the field, but Miles just carved his way through twice in race number 1, so I'm sure he's up for that third attempt, buddy.
Yeah, he definitely will be. It definitely will be. Miles Bond has got pace for days here as well. Tyson's there saying, hey, leave us alone, we are sexy. Well, you might be, but it don't mean you get it right. And then I end up having to say me piece, and then I get myself in trouble. So, look, it's a two-way street, right? If you want to make sure we say you are okay and you're, well, sexy, as you put it, you got to be on the ball with the calls, and that's going to be the hardest thing, isn't it?
Well, it's a thankless job, buddy, so sometimes I just seek attention for attention's sake. So.
Yeah. You're just attention seeking, Tyson. That's all it is.
Awesome. It is. So Jacob's saying this is going to be Jace's race. Well, he's out front. Though we did see in race number 1, Jacob, that doesn't really mean anything when there's sort of 7 Formula Vs chasing you down. I think they're like a dog with a bone. They're not going to let go. So if Jace wants to run away with this one, it is going to be, a hell of a drive.
Yeah, it will be. We're going to find out, but he's going to burn behind him. He's got Pocock, he's got Loretti, all there as well. Dixon, Chapman, Schultz, of course, Miles Bond, the ever fast charging, your winner out of race 1, Caleb Bellick as well. Well, hold on to your hats there and see what goes on. Jacob there is saying this going to Jace, going to be Jace's race. Maybe. If he can break away, I think. But it's going to be the breaking away that's going to be the hard bit, because nobody really broke away in race 1. They were all mixed up, weren't they? And that was the thing. I think it's going to be very difficult for anybody to break away in these little cars.
Well, I mean, we talked before that, we thought that aero is not such a big thing in these, but even a pencil with wheels can make a hole in the air, and we see how effective it is.
Lights are on now as well. 5 lights, and now we're up and running, and we are green, green, green. Here, Douglas on the left, Byrne on the right. We're going to go for the first time into Old Hall Corner at the moment. Who's going to be able to make it through? Is it going to be Jace Douglas? Is it going to be Dan Byrne? Douglas takes the whole shot once more. Byrne sucked in there as well. We've got Loretti gaining places. We've got Chapman gaining places. We're going to have an incident if they go that close once more, I can tell you that much. But now we've got these little cars going at it again as we go through Cascades for the first time here as well. It is Douglas, Byrne, Pocock, Chapman. Oh, big old incident with Charlie Philo. Yeah,
I think Bellick as well got caught on that, but it looks like he got clear of it. But yeah, that was Chai Philo that's gone flying off the track in the background.
Yeah, we'll have a look and see what happened to him very, very shortly if the racing settles down. Not that I think it will, because we've got the same breakaway out the front as we have got here in Y1. We got Miles Bond coming through. We got John Schultz. He's down 1 place as well. Is Schultz, and now behind that, Fahey and Ziedler. It could be an 11-car fight right to the end here. This is going to be, hold on to your hat, star guys. Buckle it up. Put your seatbelts on if you got them on the sofa, because you are in for a roller coaster once more. Let's see what goes on as the breakaway of Douglas, Byrne, Pocock, Chapman, Loretti, Dixon and Balick round out the top 7.
Again, buddy, a worthy effort there. Barely enough room to take a breath with all the action going on there. A couple of guys getting caught out. That Steven Sinkovich had an absolute horror off the line, and I think he was just worried about getting up to speed and sliding in front of someone. He stayed on the left, and pretty much almost the entire field followed him there off the start.
Yeah, unfortunately for Steve, it looked like he might have had a moment going into Shell Oils as well. And that's not going to aid his challenge as he's down 17. He's gone from 3rd to 20th, and we've only just completed lap 1.
Yeah. I know it was Caleb Bellick who has probably had the best start, though. Sam Chapman up 3 as well. Those 2 guys driving hard already. Daniel Byrne looking for a way through, not worried about the 1X. If you take the car all the way off there, you generally don't get a slowdown, but you will get an off-track penalty. So these guys, what have they got? 25 would be the limit. So I'd say in a few cases we're seeing drivers here maybe taking a few liberties, really running wide just to try and keep that momentum up.
Yeah, they are at the moment. Douglas has been pulled in now. We've got Byrne right behind Pocock, Chapman there as well. These guys are fighting out again. You can see we've got 3 packs have developed on track. We've got 1st to 8th, 9th to 11th, and then we've got 12th all the way down to 15th. Looks like Loretti's had a bit of an off track as well. Unfortunately for Adrian Loretti, he's dropped down into the clutches of Darren Fahey. Loretti there losing places to Ziedler, losing places to Schultz just about. Schultz then goes out onto the grass here once more as Jace Douglas is gonna lead us away here as well.
Pretty close there. I think it was Jay Dixon that made a great move up the inside, and I don't know if that's what maybe balked Adrian Loretti and he ran wide as a result, but I don't think there was contact there. Schultz also, as you said, having a little bit of an off there, maybe missing the opportunity to get through on Loretti as well.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one with Douglas, Byrne, Pocock, Chapman, Dixon and Bellick once more as these guys are fighting out. We've got 3 minutes down out of this 20-minute race. Douglas leading the field currently at the moment. Miles Bonds onto the back of Caleb Bellick. Bellick's trying to make a move past Dixon here. It's going to get very, very interesting here as well. So let's see how these guys cope.
Bellick getting a nice run there on Jay Dixon, but just filing back in behind. It is interesting. We're seeing that a few guys getting a little half run, but unless it's a decisive run that you're getting on them, you just file back in, because as soon as you pop out of the draft, you're no longer getting that little toe, and you start giving up speed again.
Yeah, definitely is there as well. 5 minutes in out of this 20-minute race. Once again, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this one goes on. Jace Douglas, Dan Byrne, Scott Pocock, Chapman, Bellick and Bond once more fighting it out here. So let's see how this one goes once again, as this action is not letting up here. Cowie, they're going at it once more, and at the moment, Bond's on the back of the pack. He can see everybody in front of him here as well.
He's the one driver that showed a propensity to send it tonight, knows his spots where he can sort of make a move, though he does have the series leader in front of him, Caleb Bellack, and he's another guy that's shown he's fast around here, so it'll be interesting to see if those two fight each other or if they work together. Perhaps Caleb opens the door and, Miles will sort of take the open door policy and go through as well. But it could be that Caleb is content just to sit where he is for the moment and see what happens up front.
Yeah, let's see how he gets on and whether or not he's going to be able to get through, what the situation is again here. Is he going to be able to muscle his way through? Is he going to be able to get through again? So let's see what happens here once more as we're going into lap 3. 6 minutes on the clock. Douglas, Byrne, Pocock, Chapman and Dixon all in there. Now we've got Bellick in there as well. We've got Bond. Then we've got a gap to Loretti. He's battling out with Fahey and Ziedler. Further back we've got Mike Rush and Martin Walker with Chai Filo once again. Steve Sinkovich in his own little battle with Ben Simpson. But it's all about what is happening up front. Now you can see it. Dan Byrne has just cleared Pocock. Now he's going after Douglas once more here. Round the first corner, round through Old Hall, dropping down through Denton's into Cascades. The left-hander hooking it up once again. We've got Douglas, we got Byrne, we got Pocock, we got Chapman, and we've got a fight on our hands here as well.
Don't know if you picked up, but someone else who was getting excited by all the action was my bulldog Max, whose dulcet tones may have just come through my microphone.
I didn't hear him there at the moment.
Well, I think he wants to play, so he's come in and annoyed me here while I'm trying to watch this racing. At the moment, Jace Douglas doing a great job of holding off this pack. I think we saw maybe for the first time fuel not be an issue for this race, so those guys are pitted in race number 1, perhaps just a bit of damage. But we see, once you do that, you're putting yourself well off the pack. But Miles Bond, he's done what he needed to do early on to stay in touch with this lead pack. He's shown that he's prepared to send it here. Got Caleb Bellick up in front of him. But we know that Caleb has probably been the smoothest driver so far this season. He's the least prone to make mistakes. And it can be hard to get past someone when they don't make many mistakes.
Yeah, it always is here, as we know. Under the Advan Bridge we go once more. Miles Bond on top of him there as well. Caleb Bellick in front of us. Then we've got Dixon here as well. We've got Pocock, we got Byrne, we got Douglas there as well as we go on board with Scott Pocock now. Is he going to be able to hold on once more? Is he going to be able to get through? Currently there's been a big old collision at the back. There has been a big old collision with Philo, and it looks like a couple of others here once again. Philo and Wakefield looks like they may have had a bit of a ta-ta-ta. They have.
That tyre barrier has absolutely spat that Formula V out there of Kevin Wakefield. They might be both broken. This could be safety car territory here, buddy. Those cars aren't going anywhere.
Yeah, we'll find out as we go along. Is he going to be able to come out? Yeah.
Full course yellow safety car. There we go. It's going to bunch it right up. Well, how far? We'll be 6-7 minutes into our feature race here. 8 minutes in, and it's now a safety car to bunch it all back up. Well, we said that, it could be sort of one of those things around this track, quite fast and flowing, and contact, is really a possibility when you're running that close.
Yeah.
But that tyre barrier, well, that is absolutely the Superman of tyre barriers, because it just spat Kevin's car out there with vengeance. I think it was the Hulk. That's what we should call that tyre barrier now.
Absolutely. We're waiting for the full course yellow here, guys. Give us 2 seconds, and we'll be back when these guys get back up and running.
Okay, everyone, welcome back to SRW TV, guys. Look, we've had a bit of a problem here. JP with a emergency in his house, guys. His son's struggling to breathe, so personal. Yeah, he's got to deal with that, guys. So we may have to kill this stream if his son is still struggling. He's with him at the moment. He's left me hot on the mic here, guys. But just wanted to give you all a heads up and apologise profusely. But yeah, JP's pretty worried at the moment, and I don't blame him. Alrighty, guys, look, JP's going to have to leave. He's going to take his son to hospital. We do apologise. Unfortunately, we don't have a backup to keep this broadcast going. Enjoy the rest of the racing, gentlemen. We will be back to call, and we'll let you know as soon as we can how JP's boy is going. But JP, you get going, buddy. This can wait for another time.